I'm so excited for you to listen into this conversation with my friend, Andrea Mondoux. Her and I have so much in common. We're so aligned. The universe honestly like made us bump into each other three times at three different events. And here we are doing a podcast together. And now I know why. So, a little bit about Andrea. She's a life coach for successful female entrepreneurs. She's a speaker. She's a four times best-selling author and writer of the upcoming book called Embody Bliss. Break free from the shoulds and move into more joy. She helps women rewrite their stories and rise into the fullest, most authentic version of themselves. Known for her honesty, humor, and heart, Andrea reminds us that real growth starts with showing up exactly as we are. Welcome to the High Vibes Podcast. I'm Binu, your host. My goal with every episode is to leave you feeling better, shining your light a little bit brighter than before you press play. Let's dive in. Andrea, I'm so excited for you to be here. Welcome to the High Vibes with Binu podcast.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I actually didn't tell you this yet, but I remember the first time I met you, you had just launched this podcast and we were celebrating that at the High Vibe breakfast at the Pearl. And I was like, I just remember what it's like to launch a podcast. And I was so excited for you then. And now here we are like 2 years later, I think, right?
Yes, it was October 2023. And I remember that. I remember us sitting beside each other. And I talk about this a lot on my podcast. It was like I was sitting beside this woman, and now we're doing this. And you and I were both there's something here. We don't know where like the universe is leading us, but let's just stay
Mhm.
open to what will unfold. And we're still not really sure, but this is the start of it. And honestly, the thing that I'm really excited about first that you're going to be at Manifest Her, although when this is airing, Manifest Her will be already happened. So wasn't it a great time? I know we're going to have such a great time.
Oh my gosh, I already know it's going to be fabulous. I was talking to some girlfriends this morning. We were making our drive down plans. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's coming so soon. So it's going to be the best ever, and I can't wait to soak in everything.
Yeah, and I'm
Mm.
curious what you are manifesting given where you are right now. So let's park that. I honestly, I'm so grateful that you're donating these magazines. So those people that can see me live on the video, Andrew has these incredible, I don't know what you call them, like
They're like
video.
mini newspaper. They're like a
Mhm.
Times newspaper. Mhm.
And I love it because thank you for mailing it to me. And the first thing I noticed was breaking news, joy is trending. And why I love that is because to me, spiritually, universally, I think if people realize that joy is not only available to everyone, but when you say trending, like, let's just go here. Like, what does that mean for you?
I think for me, it means that like there have been, I want to say for decades, okay? There have been like decades that have gone by where society, the world, our culture has been so focused on productivity and push and roles and hats and success and all of those things. And I think that in the pursuit of that, we have forgotten about the importance of just feeling like simple joy and pleasure. And it's not to say that we haven't felt that throughout those decades, but I think that we're kind of coming around to this like big remembering that like those are like feeling joy, laughing, like it raises your energy to like an nth degree
Mhm.
and it just helps keep you connected to the people around you. It connects you to yourself. And so I think more people are realizing that and talking about it more. So I was just like, this whole movement is trending.
Mm.
And the more that people start to uncover it and talk about it, the more it's going to continue to ripple out. And this book that is launching in mid-March, the it's about breaking free from the shoulds of life and moving into more joy because it's really hard for both to exist when you're should doing all the things you should be doing or you're showing up the way you think you should be or because you were told this or taught that or believe this. That kind of stifles our joy a little bit, I feel. And so I'm just like, no, let's talk more about how great it feels to just feel the lightness that joy brings.
I love that. I've always learned that should is self-judgment, and it became really prevalent in my house when my kids were young. And I just noticed like everybody was like, you should do this, you should do that. And I suddenly felt like so overwhelmed. And I remember before I became a coach and I was working with a coach, and she said, like, should is like probably the worst word that we can use in our household, especially with our children. And so I made a rule in my house that we weren't allowed to should each other. I just needed to run this experiment, and it's worked. And it still now becomes this like we've wrapped lightness around it, where now it is when somebody says, "Oh, you should have done that." I'm like, "Oh, no shitting, mummy, like no shitting." And all of a sudden we just laugh about it. But I feel like I'm sure you see this with your clients. Like so many clients are, I should have done that. I should have known better. And their vibration just lowers and lowers. And it's actually really hard to reach for joy when you're shooting yourself all the time. Don't you agree?
Totally. I do agree. And like, so I work with successful female entrepreneurs or people who are striving for success. Maybe they've reached a certain level. Now they're wanting to get to that next level. And it's very, I mean, it's possible, I guess, but what I'm finding in the conversations that I'm having is that it's like, in order to get to that next level, there is an element of like release and unprogramming and unlearning of your beliefs, of the shoulds that you have, and all of that kind of has to happen. You have to peel back all the layers and rethink everything that you maybe have known up until that point. And all that conditioning, of course, we get from so many different places growing up. A lot of the time, we don't even realize that we have it, right? And
Yes.
so it's like once we can figure out how many shoulds we're carrying, right? They're really heavy. And actually, there's a chapter in this book called "The Shoulds Are Heavy as Shit," and it
Mm,
actually came to me when I start the chapter by talking about I was sitting in my therapist's office, and this was the second time I had gone to therapy in my adult life. Around September 2023, actually, when I was incredibly burnt out,
mm,
very anxious, like disassociating all the time, just being so in my head. Um, and I said to her, because I was a coach at that time, and I had also previously like been in social work for years, frontline. Like I said to her, I said, I should know this. I should
mm,
know how to pull myself out of this. I should know better than to do X, Y, and Z. And she kind of just stopped me mid-sentence and she said, those shoulds, they sound like they feel really heavy. And I
mm.
was like, oh my gosh, like they're so heavy. They're heavy as shit, is what I said to
Oh, I
her.
love
And
it.
it kind of inspired that chapter because it really was like spent, I put a lot of pressure on myself. She asked me in that session, does the term self-pressure resonate with you? And I was like, yeah. Like I was just
Wow.
like, you hit the nail on the head with that. And that is so common, I think, for a lot of people, women especially, is like the amounts of pressure as a result of the shoulds.
Yes, you are so right. And what I love, and I think what we share is, something happened in your therapy session, and that's the thing that is now the chapter of your book. Like, that's how it works. Like, to me, energetically, the thing that you've had to work through and the wordings that come through, are the things that are your gift to help the people that are going to read your book. So let's talk about this book because literally the day that we're recording, you just got it in the mail. And
Yeah.
and I want everybody to know, Andrea's not a first-time author, right? Like you are a four-time author.
Yeah, so my work has been published 7 times, but I've
Wow.
I've I've led and facilitated a lot of co-author projects, so I have written in those as well. I launched my first book in 2020, but it was like the thick of the pandemic, so it was kind of like my practice run. So though I've been published a number of times, this really does feel like my first book in a lot of ways, including it's the most vulnerable 200 and something pages that I've ever written. So yeah, it's coming very soon.
I'm so excited. And are you willing to show it on camera? You don't have to.
Yeah, because
Okay.
by then the actual cover reveal
Yes.
will
So
have
I
happened.
actually, before we recorded, Andrew showed me the cover. So actually, can you just talk that picture through? Because one of the things, I've got two
Hmm.
books that I'm writing, and I'm starting to think, what cover? Do you put your face on the cover? Do you put, just the title? Like, first describe, it's so gorgeous. Like, if you're not watching, please go to Spotify and watch this because the video is there. Please explain this picture. It is
Yeah.
so
I
gorgeous.
will walk you through this because I went through the same like similar thought process. Like, do I put myself on the front of the book or do I just find some sort of beautiful imagery that really resonates with me? And so I actually gave both my designer like options for both. So I was like, create me something like this, also create me something like that has my face on it. But I didn't want it like I was saying to my husband last night. I'm like, I don't want it me just like
Yes.
on the front cover, that it's like very like obviously me. So the photo that's on the front of here is I hosted a women's retreat in April in Punta Cana and we did photos on the last day of all of the women and then the photographer was like, "We need to do photos of you too." And I remember her saying when she was shooting these photos, she's a friend of mine, and she was like, "Andrea, I have never seen you like this before. Like I have
Mm.
never seen you so powerful, so embodied. Like this is killer." And she was just like taking so many photos. And then at the time, when she delivered all the photos to us, she had been playing a lot with like double exposure. I don't actually know if that's what the technique is called, but it's like you take one photo and then you overlay another one on top of it. And they're both slightly out of focus, but you can still kind of tell what it is. And so, as I was kind of brainstorming and cruising Pinterest for cover ideas, I saw one that was similar to this, but the person was more pronounced. And so that was one of the ones that I sent to the designer. And so then she sent this one back to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. Because it is still me, right? This book is
Hmm.
written by me, full of my stories of things that I've learned that I'm now sharing with others so that they can take it and implement and grow. But it's not like I didn't want to shout from the rooftops that it's my book, if that makes any sense. So the color is beautiful. It's really, I'm a very like elevated, classically simple human being in a lot of ways when it comes to product. So it's like, just the black and white with this color. The cover is
Mm.
all like the back is all black and white, but it's like nice fonts that's branded to like
Mm.
the embody word is my font.
Mm.
So yeah, it was just like we had a couple back and forths, but once this came on, like she emailed it to me, I was like, oh my gosh, that's it. Like that's it. So,
It's like when you know. And I
hmm.
see that like even through the screen, only knowing you for a short time that I have. And just as you said that your photographer said to you, like you've never shined so strong in your power. And even when I look at that, like to me, what comes to me, it's like the need for it to be like that double exposure. It's almost like this is just what I'm getting. It's like it's what is actually there behind the veil spiritually, right? Like it's your
I'm
inner
getting
essence.
chills.
Yeah, like we have this human
Yeah.
casing, but I see
Yeah.
it almost like feels like there's a veil, and it's like your true essence is showing through, like your softness, your femininity, just like you said, black and white with a little bit of like I feel it, I can see it. That
Yeah,
is
I
just
just like,
gorgeous.
well, and I really feel like this portrays what the journey that I'm hoping that the reader goes on, which is
Mm.
like, anybody that picks up this book may have already had some experience or exposure to self-development or personal growth or just like evolving and learning as a human. But my hope is that this book kind of takes you on a journey and opens you up to consider things either that you hadn't before or in a different way than you have before. And so my hope is that there's some sort of transformation and that you come out on the other side different in a lot of ways. That is like my soul's purpose on earth is just like to be the change, you know?
Mm.
And so I was like, yep, this book like the term don't judge a book by its cover, but like we do when we're walking in a
Mhm.
store and whatever, it's like what catches us. And we want it
Yes,
to tell a
please
story.
judge the book by its cover,
Yeah,
please,
this
in
is
a
a
good way.
freaking great cover. So yes, it was meant to tell a story about what's on the inside as well.
I love that. I don't know who this designer is, but you need to send her to me
I can.
for sure. I love this and I love the word. I mean, you and I, it's just already, I know why we're already aligned. And what's really funny is we kept meeting at these events and then not really connecting, whether, kids, other things getting in the way. And then it was like the third time, I would say there's like the power of like threes. And it was like the third
Mm.
time we ran into each other, like in the food line at an event
Yes,
of over
yes.
170 people. And we're like, oh my gosh, we are meant to connect. And I remember in that moment going, I need to write your name down as someone
Hmm.
that I'm going to reach out to because I often come home, have good intentions, and then just everyday stuff takes over. Right. So I'm so glad
Hmm.
we did. And, when I look at this newspaper and the word embody bliss, and even your book, just that whole idea of like we're both change makers. Like you were like, my soul's purpose is to be the change. I'm like, I've been saying that since I was like 25. So of course we were meant to meet. But like the word embody, I feel like you and I use embody in a certain way. It's like we're taking on this essence of bliss, like shining through and actually expressing ourselves as that. But how do you take someone, like how would you explain this to someone who is in the midst of the shoulds? They want joy, but they're a little too far from it right now. Like they're still in the low vibration. They're
Hmm.
listening to this going, well, this would be nice, but how? Right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I really like if I think about what embodiment means to me, it's like okay, let me take you back a little bit. So my journey started like in the coaching space, started really with like my own weight loss journey. And I achieved the success that I had thought would solve everything and that I thought I was looking for on the outside. And I had that on the exterior, but I hadn't really done much on the interior, right? On what's going on in here. And through many, read the book. You'll follow this whole journey that I'm going to jump ahead through. Through many things, I realized that it's like what's actually the most important when it comes to like embodiment is having this unshakable connection to yourself and taking everything that doesn't feel good, that doesn't align well, clearing out the people that don't treat you well and just really holding yourself to an incredibly high standard in the sense that you're protecting yourself, you're honoring yourself, you're all of those things allow for you to like really be embodied in how you're showing up in the world. So it's like, when I think about being embodied for me, it's like if I'm feeling something, I don't just ignore it. I take a second and listen to it and understand why it's coming up and be curious about why it might be coming up or why I might be thinking that thought or where that limiting belief is coming from or where that should is coming from. And when I can, peel back and find that out, then I can release it. And that just allows me to stay again embodied and connected. It's like the deepest connection to yourself that you can have, in my opinion.
I love that. I actually love that. I think, like, if we were in the shoulds, in the low vibe, in the judgment, that was actually embodied just by upbringing and society and just like default. And now what you're saying is like, no, we can do different. We can have a different experience by going inward more and tapping
Mhm.
into that truth that is within you, which is bliss. Bliss is like trying to come out. That's what I'm hearing from you, right? And the more we
Mhm.
step in, it's even like the things that you said is, we release the people that aren't serving us. We, hold ourselves to a higher standard than we have. That's going to be uncomfortable and it's not going to happen overnight. But obviously, you took time after time to come back to your inner heart, your soul, your insides to say, hey, like this is not working. How do I move forward from here? And now you've embodied it. Like that's what I want for everyone is to realize that they can
Mhm.
embody the bliss. And once you embody it, Andrea, like, don't you find like you can't go back? Like, could you go back to how you used to be?
Oh my gosh, no, I could never go back. And also, like, I want to make sure that I'm really um, like open and transparent and saying that just because, I've written a book about it and I'm here on your podcast talking to you about it and I live it and breathe it and it's my work and my passion, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come easy or that, pardon me, it doesn't mean that it still isn't hard for me on
Mm-hmm.
certain days,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what's going on in my life, depending
Mm-hmm.
where I am in my cycle for crying out loud.
Yes,
Like it
yes.
is still, negative self-talk is a part of the human condition.
Yep.
And so it's never going to go away. But when you're living in an embodied place, you hear it and you're like, okay, I hear you. This is not true, or we're not doing this today,
Mm-hmm.
and then you still move forward throughout your life and you don't let it hold you back. So I have stuff going on inside my
Mm-hmm.
head all the time, but it's just I choose to approach that differently. And that's where it's like I can never go back to just like not speaking up for myself or not holding a boundary or not telling so and so when they've hurt me. Or there's a way to do all of these things with respect and kindness and authenticity.
Mm.
And at the end of the day, having those uncomfortable conversations builds connection with people. It also increases your self-trust. And usually, like beautiful things can happen on the other side of that maybe you didn't always expect would happen.
I love that. And I actually love that you use different words than I do. Like when you're in your head and you're doing that self-talk, you're like, okay, we're not doing this today. Right. That is something I don't necessarily say to myself. So it's just something new that my listeners are hearing, which is cool. And then,
Mm.
like, this is so important because I do think I put something on Instagram the other day because with this event coming, I've been sharing behind the scenes. And honestly, there are some days where like I want to record because I'm like, okay, behind the scenes, I'm having my protein shake in the morning post workout, but I don't love how I look. My hair looks bad. I have an old t-shirt on, but I didn't care
Mhm.
because I thought, no, the whole point is not to be polished all the time, not to always be in this high vibe because yeah, it's 90% of the time now, but that 10% is still there.
Mhm.
And so it is difficult sometimes to show up and be authentic in those moments, but I think it's really important. And then I had, of course, when we do that, I hear from a few women that are like, thank you. Thank you for showing me because otherwise like one lady said, everyone seems to make it look so easy that it makes me feel less than like writing a book, holding an event. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh no, we need to talk about it's fun. Like it's so fun. I can see you. You're so excited. I am sure you had iterations of that book or days that you're writing. I had a headache yesterday, like a like induced headache that I realized today what it was. And I literally just had to cancel everything and do nothing, which was really hard to be so bored for so long. But I knew what my body needed and my mind was having a heyday. And so it was interesting because I was so aware. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I just got to do a little extra work here for myself today in my head.
So a funny story that I just feel is like really relevant to share right now is that at the or actually I would say like early December, I met with my event planner to have like our first meeting about the book launch event. And I had already been talking about the fact that I wanted to have one, it's coming in March, like let's put something together. And we had kind of been brainstorming like back and forth over voice notes, but we hadn't actually sat down and planned anything yet. And leading up to that meeting, I kept just feeling like really heavy about it all. I was like, oh my gosh, this like book launch. Like, I don't know what do I think I'm doing? Asking people to come and celebrate me. Like, I've had a lot coming to the surface
Mm.
as this launch gets closer. But I sat down with her and she's like, okay. And she's excited because she doesn't know where my head's at. She's like, let's figure out, like, talk to me what you envision. And I would tell her, okay, so I envision this like event where we have past appetizers, but like I don't know if we're even going to be able to find a place that does that. Or like I would love to have, like swag bags, or I think these experiences would be cool, but I don't know if we're even going to like find those people. And I just kept doing that to myself.
Mm.
And then I finally stopped and I was like, okay, listen. I was like, clearly something's going on for me right now. I said, I'm feeling very overwhelmed about this book launch event, and I'm not sure why, but I know that this is temporary. And I think it's because I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to look like. and I'm having some feelings about putting myself out there in this way. And so I said to her, I said all of these things. I'm like, and so we're just going to keep going and we're going to ignore this part of me because I will be fine in
Yes.
like 2 weeks from now. And
Yes.
sure enough, we had this, once I named it, we had
Mm.
this flowy conversation. The venue that we were having lunch at, we're like, oh my gosh, we could do it here. And then it spiraled into like this whole, then all of a sudden by the end of the meeting, I was excited. And then the
Mm.
next day I went thrifting and found my dress at a thrift store.
Wow.
Like all of these things started lining up because I just continued to push forward,
Mm.
even though I was feeling all of the like, who's going to even buy a ticket to this event
Mm-hmm.
in that
Mm-hmm.
moment?
Mm-hmm.
And so that to me is like such a powerful tool and such powerful work because I think there's so many people that will think those thoughts and then that's where it ends.
Yes. Yes. And they
And
actually, I
it
love
doesn't
that
have to
actually.
end
This
there.
is really powerful. And actually, you say in this newspaper, it's like perfect the power of thought work. This is thought work. It's like
Hmm.
a tennis game in our head. And I think people don't realize that. Like they think, oh, you have all positive thoughts. Like, Andrew, that is such a perfect example. And I've gone through that every time I do something new. Every time
Hmm.
I stretch, there is that little voice, and we get to choose. Do we listen to the empowered, blissful woman that is like book launch, book launch, book launch, excited? It's just like your soul's mission to do this right now.
Hmm.
Or the voice that's trying to keep you safe, which is all that voice is trying to do for us, right? So that is such a powerful example. I want people to really, really understand that, right? We have to almost like override. I always say like we have to override that voice because we know it's just
Yes.
trying to keep us safe.
Yep.
So it's like, we're
Yep.
safe, we're good,
Yep.
right? But I like how
Yep.
you're saying, but we're not going to do that today. I'm going to focus here. And of course, that's how the universe works. As soon as you make a decision, I heard somebody say, like, a decision is the most powerful thing we can do, like in the inner work. So you decided, no, I'm just going to talk like this. I'm going to speak forward. And of course, it all works out. Like, we all have so
Hmm.
many examples, but we forget.
Yeah, totally. And like even as I have this book in my hand right now, and as I was, sharing the ticket link with people, like, hey, if I think about the people, like I said to you, I was like, if I think
Yes.
about the room and the people
Mm.
that I want there, like, I would love for you to be in it. I had to like get over myself to
Yes.
send those messages because part of the programming that I've grown up with is I've always wanted people to like me. And I've
Mm.
always been worried that people won't. And
Mm.
I've also been really nervous to be vulnerable, asking people to show up for me because
Mm.
history has shown me in my upbringing and in friendships that people don't always show up for me
Mm.
historically. And so, as an act of self-preservation, right? It's like, just don't ask and just don't put yourself out there and don't do anything that makes you seem showy or
Mm.
whatever just
Yep.
so that people will still like you. And so I am still like I probably will be maybe freaking out the day of the book launch event, like before the event happens because again, it's like still that humanness that exists within me.
Yes.
And I'm really asking a lot in terms of myself and my growth and being seen in leading up to this launch that in ways that I haven't really demanded of myself before. And so there's going to be fumbling through that. But I can hold myself with compassion. My three pillars that I often talk about with my clients is grace, compassion, and acceptance. So
Mm.
I can hold myself with compassion that like this is big, this is scary.
Hmm.
So if I ride the roller coaster of emotions during it, it's okay. And I'm going to give myself grace for that. And I'm just going to accept that this is part of the journey. And like, I love myself and I've got myself and I've done hard things before. And I can continue to push through those challenging thoughts because I know it's going to be beautiful on the other side. The impact that I know is going to happen from this book is is more important than all of those negative thoughts that are kind of chattering about.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I actually really love, so I just bought my ticket and I actually was just thinking to myself, I'm so grateful because that's actually what I teach some of my clients too. It's like DM that person, just like you said, who would I want to have there? And then you reached out to those people. When you come from that place of love and self acceptance and want other people to celebrate with you,
Mhm.
the universe can only say yes to that. Like that to me is like easy response of love and goodness. And so no one that you're ever going to reach out to is going to be mad at you or anything. It's all going to be just whether they can make it or not. And honestly, I was so grateful because what I said to you is like with my event coming up, my brain forgot. And so I'm so grateful.
Understandably.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful you and like even I was like, do I just ask her to send me the link? Yes, just send me the link so I don't have to go looking for it. Like that is so helpful. Yet
Mm,
on the other side, so many people are like, well, no, she might think I'm being really forward. No, I actually want to come. Like I love this
hmm
where you are leading events, I'm leading events. I would be misaligned with what I'm putting out in the world if I don't go attend other people's events when I'm asking people to come to mine. To me, it's like all one energy. And so we're
mm.
like sharing and collectively spreading the love. Like you get to come and be in my space where I'm putting myself on the stage. And then I want to come and celebrate you and be a participant to celebrate you on the stage. And what I love, Andrea, is like your creativity around this event is really cool. Like you just said something to me about like get ready to be at the gala. I haven't even looked. So this is like gala vibes.
Totally. Like I've made the wording, it's like a book launch soiree, but
Oh.
like the vibe is gala because here's the thing. We're always waiting for we have everybody has that dress or that thing that they want to wear to that thing that they're like, I don't know if I'll ever go to an event like that. And it's like an invitation to live your life more bold and more extra because why not? And you don't need that permission from anybody to like give you the opportunity to do that. Like you can create that environment yourself. And I just want to like go back to something that you said because I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is so. I want to expand on. You said that I resent you the link again and you're like, I want to come, but I'm just got lots going on with my event. It could be so easy to create a story
Hmm.
around why somebody hasn't bought their ticket yet or why
Yes.
somebody didn't respond to your message or whatever it is. It's really easy to create a story that like they don't like me or they don't care about coming or this person doesn't care about responding to me or whatever it is, when in reality it's actually just everyone has kind of their own stuff going on,
Yeah.
but you could create a story about it and all of a sudden it can send you spiraling. But again, that's the power of thought work and like tuning inward and listening to kind of what you're saying to yourself regularly.
And I don't know if you said this word, like self actualization, self concept. It really is knowing yourself so much and understanding how the world works, especially our
Mm.
Instagram DMs. Like I even have sometimes where like I know after 6, I just have a rule for my head, like unless it's really necessary, I'm not responding. I will respond in the morning. And
Hmm.
that took like a new behavior to step into, but just that. Sometimes I read someone's message and then I'm like, oh, if they go back in, they're going to see that I looked at it. Like our brain just can go, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll just like pop in there because I know what's happening in all our minds and just say to someone, I've read it, but I'll respond in the morning. Right. But that's
Hmm.
why I'm like, how many people have said to me when I have reminded them? So I had a couple girlfriends for our event and that said they were buying it, but they were really busy. Christmas time was in the midst of it. And so I just realized like, oh, she hadn't bought her ticket. She said she wanted to. I wonder if she just forgot. So I reached out to her. And again, I'm like, okay, I hope I'm not being too pushy. Like even that, I was just so real. And I said, just
Hmm.
in case you forgot, she was like, oh my gosh, Binu, thank you for sending me the
Yeah.
link. I've been deep over here.
Yeah.
And I would have felt so bad if when we sold out that she wouldn't have been able to come. Right. So this is
Hmm.
so important, Andrea. Like we always have to realize everybody's got stuff going on. And I actually think you and I are great leaders this way that we speak our truth. Like we are helping the other women by saying, no, I really want to come. Just give me a sec and I'll come back or remind me. I've said to somebody, if you don't hear from me in a week, you have permission to reach out to me again.
Well, and I know myself, like sometimes I look at something where I'm like, I thought I responded in my head. I do this a lot where I'm like,
Yes.
oh yeah, I respond in my head. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I haven't heard back from that person. And then I look and I haven't even responded. I'm like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, it's just these things happen and it
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything about the value of the relationship. It's just that
Mm.
we're all, wearing so many hats and doing
Mhm.
so many things. And we just need that support from the people in our network sometimes.
Absolutely. I know. I even can feel now there's a reason we've connected because we're sharing very similar messages with
Mhm.
the world and especially for other women entrepreneurs out there. So Andrea, let's talk about your book launch and your book. So tell me so we have space for people to buy tickets. I don't know when this goes live. Maybe it'll be sold out. So if there are tickets still available, please tell the audience what is this book launch and why should they attend if they can?
That's a really great question. So, the intention for the event is definitely to celebrate the launch of the book, share a little bit more about what you can expect reading it. A friend of mine is going to MC the night, and she's going to ask me some questions about, I don't even know what they're going to be. We'll probably just get up there and have a chat like this. But also, it's like, to be in a room, I mean, you put on events, and so you know the power of just being in a room surrounded by like-minded people who are just reminding you of the nuggets of why you're living the way you are.
Mm.
And so the intention for that room is that as well. I have a couple sponsors on board who are going to do little activations. So they're going to share their gifts with the room in small ways. I have Kim Fitzpatrick is going to be coming
Oh,
and
yay.
chatting a little bit at the event as well. And then I was like, we'll do like a book signing and a little toast. And then because I love to dance, I hired a DJ who's going to come for like an hour at the end. Well, he'll be there for the whole night and putting ambiance. But then we're having a dance party from like 9 until 10. This venue has like lights and everything. So we're
Wow.
just gonna like really celebrate, get into our bodies, just move and, not care about what other people are thinking. Like it's just come to this incredibly safe space, and celebrate like showing up for yourself fully. And then it ends at 10 o'clock and you can go home and go to bed at a decent hour because sleeping is also very valuable.
Oh, thank you for that. I think when I first looked at it, I was like, ooh, evening event. Binu doesn't do evening events. And then I thought to myself, okay, that timing works. And then I will just stay close by. Like I had to work through it to
Yep.
tell myself I will be okay. Right. Andrew, this sounds so great. And actually, one of the other reasons I want people to show up is kind of what you said. It's like an opportunity for us all to be seen, to show up first for ourselves and to just practice being authentic, practice letting your blissful essence come through in a room
Mm-hmm.
that is energetically set up that way. But then, Andrea, I just you probably know this. I also want people to come because I want them to be in your energy of this author who is holding an event to celebrate herself and everybody else because I know there's lots of women that have a book on their heart and they don't know what
Mm,
it looks like. So why not be in the energy of other women doing the thing that you keep dreaming about? Like literally being in the energy of you hosting your book launch, having your book in your hand, telling the stories. To me that is so important as like doing a writing program. To me that energetic work is part of the embodiment. So these women coming to your event, me included, get closer to
mm.
getting our books out there.
Listen, there's a lot of power in like just getting into the spaces, being open to who knows what conversations you could have, and just being in the space where the magic can happen. And
Yes.
I love magic. I'm wooey. I know you are too. And
Yes.
so it's like they're like the vibes are gonna be vibing in the
Yes.
room that night, and everything that's like connected to this book. It's just my heart and soul is in it. And we actually, I know I mentioned this to you before we recorded, but I always read books and I'm like, oh gosh, this book is so good. And I'm like trying to remember everything. And then I close the book and I'm like, Oh yeah, what did I read again?
Mm.
And so beyond just reading the book, I've actually created audio integrations that once you have the
Mm.
book, you can scan the QR code. It will take you to a web page that has tracks for every chapter. And it's
Wow.
like 3 to 6 minutes in length, roughly, depending on the chapter, of just like little affirmations or information about that chapter. Rewiring your brain requires repetition. And so you can listen to these tracks whenever to get the nuggets and really integrate those parts so that you can embody everything that you've read about over and over again until you're like, how you can't even remember. Like you were saying earlier, I could never go back. It's like you will get to a point where you don't even remember what it was like before you read this
Yes.
book because you're just
Mm.
consistently taking in the audios, the reflection blocks for like journaling, like all of it. It's a full immersive experience that
Wow.
I am delivering with this book.
I have goosebumps. Like this is amazing. I love that. I love that you've added all those pieces in because that's how it works. We have
Hmm.
to override the old ways to let
Hmm.
your true embodied bliss essence come through. Andrew, I'm so excited. Okay, this is like we could talk all day, but we need people to show up at your event and and read the book. So tell everyone where they can find you. How can they buy the book? How can they find out more, follow you, all the things?
Yeah, so everything, or in all of the places, I'm the Balance Bliss. So on Instagram, I'm the.balance.bliss. My website is thebalancebliss.ca. If there are tickets left to the book launch event, you'll be able to buy them through my Instagram bio. And then you can also pre-order the book there. So it launches on March 11th. I lined it up with International Women's Day, but not on the day
Nice.
because I
Mhm.
that day needs its day. But March just felt like a good time. And yeah, that's where you can find all of the goodness. And also, I always like to say, like, I love DMs. You know, sometimes you hear people on like a podcast or you see them speak and you're like, oh, I'm like too nervous to message that person or I don't want to bother them. It's like, I might take a day to answer you, as we've discussed,
Yes.
but I will probably voice note you back
Mm.
because it's my favorite thing to have these conversations with women who, whether it's a question, whether it's just sharing how it impacted you, or just to say hello, like I'm here for all of it. So I will wait for your DM.
I love that. That's another reason why we're so aligned as well. Andrea, thank you so much. We'll put all those links in the show notes. I am just so excited to have this conversation with you today and can't wait for your book to be in my hands and to be at your book launch to celebrate you. I just can't
Thank
wait.
you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you listening. If this episode resonated with you and you wish to speed up your growth, feel free to check out my programs and services. Just go to my website, binu.ca. And if you know someone else who is seeking more meaning in life and could use some inspiration and high vibes along the way, please pass them on to me. It would mean the world. And it goes a long way if you take a few seconds right now and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. I'll be forever grateful.